Hello and welcome to the 31 Flavor Journey Show. I am Ben Kaysen, joined with four very special guests here in the studio today. Of course, we have the owners, Joe and Renee Prutch of Baskin Robbins, PJ's, Prutch's Garage, a whole bunch of other things. Guys, how y'all doing?
We're doing great, Ben. How are you?
Amazing.
Good, Ben. Thank you.
Absolutely. I love having y'all in the studio. And we've got two more guests with us today. We've got Gilbert Padilla over here on the left. Gilbert, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Amazing, man. Amazing. And then we've also got Veda Bigley on the right.
Hi.
Hey, you guys both original crew members of Baskin Robbins whenever it opened. When was that? What year was that?
2015.
Yep.
February 2015. And I think it was like around this date, too.
All right. Wow. So
Yeah.
we're 6 years anniversary almost.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome, guys. So you guys jump into Baskin Robbins at that point. It's never been open before. You jump in with Joe and Renee. Can you guys tell me a little bit about what that experience was like?
Oh man, it was pretty hectic. I remember first day we opened. It was a little slower because it was in the afternoon. But once everyone heard the news, we had a line out the door, and it was pretty cool to be a part of that because it hasn't been in Pueblo for a while, and so to see that return and to be a part of the opening of Baskin Robbins was very, very special, and it was hectic, to say the least. Yeah.
I had never really heard of Baskin Robbins, and then my dad, his friend, actually laid the floor in there, and Renee was like, "Hey, if you guys know any teenagers that need a job," and I was like, "Oh, I need a job." So I took my application in. I was so nervous, and then we started in the afternoon, and we had everybody on deck, so it was we were prepared. And even Joe and Renee would be there stocking cones, and Timmy was there, so he was bringing the ice cream in, loading it up for us, and it was just busy all the time. And we were there till midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning sometimes because we were so busy. And people wouldn't want to leave. They'd already been waiting, so we were there for a while.
Yeah, and then Gil's mom, Charlotte, she made us dinner every day. So we would have our dinner over at Prutch's Garage Door, and I would take everybody in shifts. I was like, go next door, get something to eat, get back on the line.
Quesadillas.
So every day, because it was like this for 3 weeks. We couldn't even catch our breath. And so literally, it was wonderful. She was like, I've got dinner, just come on over, just, I got it all set up. Yeah.
It's funny to think about it now, but we get out of school and go straight over there to work, and we would find ourselves, 10, 30, 11, and then after that, it'd be like, get done. And we'd all clean together, but it was just one of those experiences, it's a high school experience that was very enjoyable, a memory you always cherish, and we truly enjoyed it, definitely.
So what was it like then when you haven't been running it before, and then it opens up and you have this crazy line? What's that like to, deal with that pressure?
Stressful.
Yeah.
But it was stressful because you're in high school and you're like, oh my gosh. But people were so nice and so excited. So it made it enjoyable too.
Wow.
Yeah, and we, during training, we had no customers because, we're the fresh new Baskin Robbins, and, our customers were people that we knew and stuff that would come in, and each other. So to see it live and in action, it was something special because, I mean, the whole week we're training without, customers, but, when it's live, it's different. You get to have a relationship with customers and, really get to know them. And, we've heard stories of customers, they enjoyed it when they were a kid.
Yeah.
And now they're here enjoying it again in Pueblo. So
that's awesome. Joe and Renee, can you guys kind of speak to what it was like to see this crew running it at that point?
Well, everybody did a great job. I mean, they did a fantastic job. Everybody, even though we are all new at this, everybody stepped up and they did their part, and it was really exciting to see everybody maturing and learning a trade. And that for something to take with them forever.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was just so fun and so crazy. And we were like deer seeing in the headlight. You're like, oh my gosh, the lines wouldn't end. The drive-through wouldn't end. Like I was telling you earlier in one of the podcasts, it wrapped around the building and went down Prairie. We had people out there directing traffic, directing people. And it was just like, for the ice cream. And so we couldn't believe it, but we were just like, you didn't take a breath. You're just scooping and ringing and taking orders and just going. And it was great because the communication amongst everybody was fantastic. I was so proud of them all. But, you're not prepared for that moment. Like Gil said, we had training for 2-3 weeks in the store. We would have our family come in, be our guests. We would do each other. That's different. That's family. They're going to be nice to you. They're going to be, be a little more patient and stuff. And then when it went live, we were like, oh my goodness. And we didn't even announce it. All I did was open the doors. And so I never announced that we were officially open, but everybody then posted it. They were like, they're open. It was just like, and they grew more and more and more. We're like, here we go.
That's crazy.
Yeah. We used to have like at the end of the shift, because it was nonstop. So sometimes you'd have like this ice cream tattoo because you were scooping so much. And it was funny because when we first started, like we were always busy. So we were used to that pace. So then like as the years went on and you're in that like kind of managing role, you can try and train them, but it's a little different because they're not as busy. So when they would get busy, they were like, oh my gosh, we're busy. And so I just like do my little thing, cranking out the orders, and they're like, how are you so fast? Because that's the way that we were trained, is just get it done quick.
Yeah. That's awesome. So like, how long did both of you work at Baskin Robbins?
Since it opened.
Since it's opened. And then Renee and Joe were very flexible. When I was going to college, during breaks, I had a 6-week break during college, and I'd come back home, visit my family and everything. And they allowed me to work there during my breaks, any break actually, even if it was just a weekend, they needed help or something, and I was home. They allowed me to step in and work there. So I worked there about 4 years. Wow. Yeah, 4 years or so. Yep.
All right. Yeah. And how long did you work there?
So I just stopped working there last April because I'm in nursing school, so I had to kind of focus.
Takes up a lot of time. Yeah.
Focus a little bit more. So I was upset about that, but it's been good. So
awesome. Yeah. For both of you guys, how have you felt like the support from the owners has been throughout your Baskin Robbins experience?
Amazing, to say the least. They've been like family to us. They've seen us grow up right in front of their eyes. We were 17, 18 years old when we got hired there.
Sure.
And now Vita's 22 and I'm 24. And so, they've helped us along all of our journeys. They've always been there for us whenever, we need help with something, even if it's not related to the, Baskin Robbins. If it's in our life or anything, we have a question, they're always there and always willing to help. So they've been great owners. They're always, in there and a part of their business, willing to help out any of their crew members if they need it. They're very flexible. Been flexible throughout my career there. Anything, if I needed a day off or if I needed, time or something like that. And also if I want to come back and work, they were always there and willing to help with that. And
that's awesome.
Great
Sweet.
owners, yeah.
So when I first started working, I was kind of scared because I was like, oh, Renee. And she's like, she's my boss. Like, I just want to do everything to make sure that I did everything right.
Yeah.
And then as like time went on, so Gil and I are actually engaged, but we didn't start that way.
Man, I didn't know that.
There's a story
that
there.
That is a story.
There is.
Sorry, I dropped the bomb.
Yeah, I love that. Okay.
So we didn't start, we were just friends in high school and whatever. And so we kind of I started getting close with Joe and Renee because his sister, Crystal and Timmy, they're married.
Yeah.
So I started talking to Gil, and it was Easter, and he's like, I'm at Joe and Renee's, going to come over. And I was like, oh my God, that's my boss. So I went over and we had Easter, I think it's lunch together. And then that's when I started getting more comfortable and talking to Joe and Renee, and now they're our family. We do everything together. If we don't see them at least once a weekend, something's wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there is a story behind this. When they both first started working for us, Gilly, like I said, started first and then Vita, and Gilly was shift leader before Vita. And so Gilly would tell Veda, you need to clean. Renee wants you to scrub the grout lines.
Yeah.
She wants you to do this and this. So he was really enjoying, telling Veda what to do.
And you guys were dating at that point or not?
No.
Oh, okay. All right.
So it was like our first night without Renee and Joe, because they would stay and close with us, make sure everybody was doing everything correctly, make sure we all got home safe. And it was like our first night without Renee and Joe. And Gil comes up to me and he's like, Veda, you need to mop the ground again. That is not up to Renee's expectations. And I was like, oh, dude, like, tell me. You want to tell me? I was like, So I said, all right, Gil. So I handed him the mop. I said, you try to get the spot out. It was the design of the tile that he was talking about. And I came home and I was furious. And my mom would always stay and wait until I got home.
Yeah.
And so to this day, she'll say, yeah, Gilly, you made her scrub the floor again. And she was so mad at you. And I was like, he told me that I didn't do a good job. And I was so mad because I knew, I think I'm a really good rule follower.
Yeah.
And I knew what Renee's expectations were, and I wasn't trying to get in trouble, so I did it right. And you need to try again. And I was like,
So then, what was the time frame? Because at that time they were both dating somebody else.
Yes.
Okay.
So that was our sophomore and junior year, and his senior year, and then he went to college. His freshman year, and then came back for break, and then that's kind of when we started hanging out with just our friends and kind of together. Yeah. And then in May of my junior year. Yeah. Yeah, in May and the summer of my junior year that we started dating, and then it's just been good ever since.
That's awesome.
So we have our Baskin Robbins first story.
Yeah, the love story.
The love story. I love that.
Yeah.
So were you still the shift leader above her at that point? Or was that dynamic switched by then?
Yeah, and then it's funny because it did switch because I was a shift leader at that point, and then she became a shift leader, and then she got promoted to manager. So sometimes I'd come back and I would work, and she was manager. So
so the roles, you could tell him you mop that.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll never live that down. Even my mother-in-law still to this day. Gilly, don't tell her to mop the floor again.
And now we so actually Joe and Renee helped us get our first house.
Yeah.
And so now we live together, and he tells me to mop the floor, and I'm like, oh, buddy, you do it.
Wow. So what's it been like then for you, Joe and Renee, to watch them grow as people and then grow together at this point? What's that been like?
Well, like they said, we are family, and we treat it that way, and we love them both, and we do everything together, and it's really it's gratifying, and it's like Veda says, if we don't see each other at least once a week, I'm asking Renee, what are them two guys doing? Or Renee's asking me, I wonder what the heck, what's the deal? We haven't heard from them.
Yeah.
So, it's to see them grow like that and work so hard at Baskin Robbins. They really did work hard and put in their time.
Sure.
And deservingly so, becoming managers and shift leaders. Very nice.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so proud of these two to see where they started with us. And I got to tell you, when Gilly came in for an interview, he dressed up, he had a tie on, and he brought a resume. Nice. Now, you're talking to a Baskin Robbins job. Not many people would do that. And he was so prepared and I was like, I need to make sure I do this one correctly. So he didn't even take it for granted that he had the job. He earned it. He worked hard at it and everything. And Veda then did the same. She came in all dressed up. She had her resume. She was so prepared. And so then when we needed to hire for Baskin Robbins-Pueblo West, we did a job fair.
Yeah.
And I had these two be down. So we did it at Prutch's garage door. Okay. We set up a table downstairs, and these two screened everybody and make sure they had their resumes, their applications,
I like that.
and everything. And really, it made notes on there for me because people just don't realize you're being interviewed the moment you walk through a door.
Sure.
So these kids would either be on their phone or saying things they shouldn't be saying or whatever. So they made these notes
like
for
spies
me.
as they walk
yeah,
in.
they were spies for me. So then Veda or Gil, depending on who, would walk them upstairs, because then we had our interview room upstairs. It was me and Crystal at that point doing the interviews, and they'd hand me my papers with my notes, and and then bring that person in to sit down around the table. And so it was wonderful. But we were able to hire all of our first group of kids for the Baskin Robbins Pueblo West store, the second store. But so they've been involved in everything that we do, and
we even got amazing. To last summer not this last one, but the one before that, we had we got to help them with flipping a house, and then this last summer we flipped what is now our house.
Yeah, wow.
So we've learned a ton from them, and we were administrative assistants at the garage door company, so we got to answer the phones and memorize all the phone numbers. And
Yes, they did. And Gil worked for us for quite some time, and he was even out in the field installing garage doors. Really? And then Veda was in the office helping me with all the administrative stuff and the garage door stuff, in addition to being a manager at Baskin Robbins and at PJ's at the same time. And yeah, so they never questioned anything that we asked of them. They did it.
Man, you guys, every time I had this exact same experience last time when we came in with Tim and Crystal, and I was like, hey, what involvement you guys had? And then they just like, boom, 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 all these 3 things that you guys have done. And same thing with you guys. It's just amazing. I love to see it, it's interesting because like a lot of the people's experiences that I think I've ever heard, like my friends and myself, whenever it came to like working in the service industry, is not the experience that you guys are talking about. Like, can you guys kind of speak to that? Like, what do you feel is special about being able to work with Joe and Renee, and all the opportunities came from that?
I would say the learning experience. Like Vita was saying, we've got to wear many different hats over a period of time, and we've learned so much. Like we learned how to interact with customers, learned life lessons from them, and we also learned how to do normal things in life, like put together things, like with the houses and everything like that. We learned the simple things, how to hold tools, how to carry yourself in such environments. And so I would say the learning aspect of that, we very knowledgeable, and we've learned a ton. And so that's very, very gratifying. Yep.
That's awesome.
I think that just the family is the most special to me, because I've never felt like Renee's, I can always explain things to her, and we connect on that level. So I never felt really uncomfortable in any way. And we've, like Gil said, learned a ton. And even Joe and I, he's like, all right, tell me about the stores. I was busy this morning. And so I talked to Joe about that, and just the learning in the family. And I would say even family with Joe and Renee, they care about everybody. There was one time, our cake decorator, she at Baskin Robbins, she's she's a little different, but she was like, she's like, I don't know, I'm going to get home. I don't have gas money. So I went over and told Renee, I was like, hey, Nene, Laura said she needs some, or she said she can't get home because she doesn't have gas money. And so Renee was like, here, take this to her, and gave her some gas money. So just things like that, they go above and beyond for anybody. And there's been multiple times, when the store actually opened, I was there working for a week, and then I got sick. I was sick for, it was 2 weeks probably that I was sick, and they still would call and hey, is Vita okay? I'd call my mom, because I was I was almost dead. That's how I felt. But they would text my mom and say, hey, is she okay? And so then I was getting, when I came back, I still wasn't feeling 100%, but I wasn't sick anymore. I had my antibiotics and stuff. And so then they were like, well, take it easy. You could just make waffle cones. So that whole shift, I was making waffle cones. And we needed them, so it wasn't but so just they're very caring and very kind.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I've seen it, firsthand all around. Yeah, as a family-oriented business as a whole, they bring that, to all their employees. I've seen, kids, might not have, the best shoes on, or they need shoes or something like that. They're always the first ones there, to help out if they do need that. And so that's the thing I've always, I've learned, and I've learned that throughout my life. If you can do it and you can help someone out, and you can be there for them, it's always good to do that. And it's taught from, my first job at Baskin Robbins, and that was was the turning point that kind of like made me ready for the rest of my career.
That's amazing.
Yep.
Awesome, guys. Well, I don't think there's much else to say here. This is a Baskin Robbins love story, family experience.
Right.
That's crazy. You guys came in, I didn't even know. I was like, just like these two don't, work together. But I love to hear that. That's amazing. And, always whenever Joe and Renee come in here with people and talk about like the culture at Baskin Robbins and also PJ's, which is another podcast, but it just blows me away. It's just like so different from a lot of the places that I've ever worked at or have had friends work at. It's just, I think that's a big reflection on you two. So,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
You're welcome. Awesome. So can you guys tell me where can we find Baskin Robbins here in Pueblo?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You can find them on Prairie Avenue on the south side, and then the Pueblo West location is on Haley Lane. And they both have the same flavor, same types of cones, so you can get your fix at either one.
Sweet.
And they have a drive-through.
Yes,
And they
both of
have a
them. Both of them, so you don't have to get out of your car when it's cold.
That's awesome, you guys. Hey, thank you all so much for coming in. I appreciate you. This is great. I love hearing about this, and it makes me really excited. Every time I go into Baskin Robbins, I don't know the stories behind the stories of the family behind everything, and it's crazy. I love it. Awesome. This has been the 31 Flavor Journey brought to you by Baskin Robbins in Pueblo and Pueblo West. Thank you for joining us. If you want to catch some of our previous episodes, go find it right here on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We had Tim and Crystal, who are Joe and Renee's son and daughter-in-law. They were in here talking about their involvement with all the businesses, as well as some of the managers from the two businesses were here. Go check out PJ's Bayou Grind for the PJ's Coffee side, where we had both of these two back in, and we talked about PJ's Coffee and that side of the experience. So you don't want to miss that. Go find it right here on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great rest of your day.